Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Diablo Immortal video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the whole Paragon system in Diablo Immortal, how to get the most out of your Paragon points, what are the different trees, what do they do, which ones should you go for, all that kind of good stuff. So, let's get into it. You unlock Paragon levels once you hit level 60. So you hit level 60 and then the game really opens up and the end game sort of begins. And so when that happens, every level that you gain after you've hit 60 is going to turn into a Paragon level. The best way to gain Paragon levels and experience is the same as it was before, which is to improve your Battle Pass, right? So you get Battle Pass points, you level up the Battle Pass, and that's going to give you big EXP jumps. So that's going to be the best way for you to get the Paragon points. Now, once you unlock them at level 60, you gain access to the Paragon tab in the menu, and then a bunch of Paragon trees will be available for you to put points into. As you advance through the game and your Paragon levels increase, you're going to unlock additional Paragon subclasses, things like Treasure Hunter and Gladiator, and then ultimately at Paragon 150, Soldier and Mastermind. At the time of my recording this video, Soldier and Mastermind are the last of the two available options in the Paragon menu. However, I do expect for there to be more Paragon subclasses to become, or trees to become available with updates or expansions to this game. I'm going to do a really brief rundown of what the different Paragon trees are. I'm not going to get super in-depth into them, but just a very brief one. So Vanquisher is one of the starting ones that you can get. I think that Vanquisher is the best, well-rounded PvE subclass for you to go with, and so when you unlock Paragon, this is a really good one to go. All of the Paragon trees are going to give you skills, and they're going to be available to you as long as that Paragon tree is active. So the Vanquisher tree is going to give you access to things like Exorcism, which increases your damage dealt to monsters. You've got Zeal, which is going to increase your attack speed when you kill monsters, and Wrath, which increases your damage when you kill monsters. So this is very much a PvE-based tree. You then got Survivor, which really screams hardcore mode in the event that they ever make hardcore for Diablo Immortal. Namely, it's got a bunch of stuff that's based on survival, just being able to move faster and move through monsters when your life dips, a cheat death for PvE, and general stuff like that. This subtree is really not worth it in the current state of Diablo Immortal, just because offense is significantly better than defense, so that tree is not that great. The next tree is Treasure Hunter. This one is really just for Outer World farming. So you've got increased equipment drop rates in Outer World areas, you've got increased gold in Outer World areas, and you've got increased globe drop in outdoor areas. So this will not affect you in dungeons at all, it won't affect you in raids. So if you're a person who's going to spend a lot of time in the Outer World farming, then Treasure Hunter can be worth it for you for that. Gladiator is the end-all be-all best option for PvP. It is your first PvP-based subclass, and it has the absolutely essential cheat death attached to it. So every 2 minutes, you get to cheat death if someone is going to kill you. You also wind up getting Uncontrollable, which makes you immune to a CC effect every 20 seconds if you wind up fully speccing into the tree and getting rapid recovery. So if you're a PvP player or a PvP lover like I am, this is definitely the tree that you're going to want to go. And then when you hit 150, you unlock Soldier and Mastermind, which are kind of intended to be higher level PvP and PvE Paragon trees. So Soldier has got a bunch of stuff that is going to, for example, reduce damage, etc. in PvP. However, as opposed to a cheat death, you get something that buffs your party when you die. And so I really don't think that this tree is as good, because it's just better to not die and be able to stay in combat than it is to give a minor buff to your party for you dying. And then the final tree is the Mastermind tree. This one is going to really want you to have all 4 different classes in your party. And so all of the skills except for one are going to require that you have all 4 people in your party. The one that doesn't is Covert Operations, which increases your crit chance for each different class present in your party. This is an absolutely phenomenal ability, and that makes this one of my favorite trees for PvE, in addition to Find Weakness, which makes it so that bosses take 20% more damage. So you wind up melting through dungeons pretty quickly with this tree right here. The only downside is that you do need to have 4 different people in your party to be able to do that. Now, I want to get into optimizing your Paragon points, because I'm sure that for a lot of you, you're looking at my Paragon tree and you're going, Michael, what did you do, right? You've only got 84 points in Gladiator, and then you've got 32 in Mastermind, 31 in Soldier, 21 in Treasure Hunter, 31 in Vanquisher. Why all these random points spread around? The answer to that one is actually pretty simple in nature, but is sort of complex at the same time. It'd be nice if the game explained it. So you can only have one active Paragon class at a time. And so the Paragon class that is active is the one that will grant you access to the skills that you have unlocked in that Paragon tree. However, you still continue to gain all of the stats that you have put points into in all of your other Paragon trees. You will notice that in this tree here, Treasure Hunter, there is this nice little yellow glow around the armor right here, and there's a nice green glow here around the damage. However, for this particular ability, Swift Learner, there is no glow on it unless I click on it, right? So I guess this one I had clicked on, but right, these two have a glow, whereas this one does not. And if you look at Gladiator, you'll see that all of these skills that I have unlocked have that glow. So really anything with the green glow is something that is active for your character, meaning you get your one active tree, you get all of the skills from that active tree, and then you continue to gain all of the stats from all of the other trees that you put those stat points into. Now, this is important because, as I mentioned earlier, Diablo is very much a game that is about damage and then ultimately life, right? So you want to be able to do as much damage as you can, and you want to be able to have enough life to take a few hits as well. And so when it comes to placing points into your Paragon trees, it's going to be about maximizing the amount of damage that you're going to be able to get out of your character. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to establish which is the Paragon tree that has the skills that you want, because you should have the skills for one of the trees. I personally chose Gladiator because I'm a PvP player. However, if you are more of a PvE player, you might want to go with something like Vanquisher. And if you're someone who wants to just spend a lot of time farming out in the world, it might be that you want to choose Treasure Hunter. If you've got a group of friends that you consistently play with and you guys are all different classes, you might want to go Mastermind. So there are a number of different options. They're all good options based on how it is that you play, but make sure that you pick one of those options. And then when you've picked that option, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to spec your points into all of the skills that you want in that tree. And so you'll see with Gladiator, I had to put in the armor penetration, and then I wanted uncontrollable, and then I had the choice to either go up for health and to get quick-witted, or to go down here to potency and then trapper. I don't personally find trapper to be that useful, and this only required 10 points, whereas this required 15 points. So I chose to go up to life, as I happen to think that life is better than potency anyways. And that enabled me to go through my tree, get resistance, get more life, pick up cheat death, which I wanted, the armor, and of course rapid recovery, and then the most important stat here in the Gladiator tree, which is this extra 500 to damage. And if you take a look at how I wound up putting my points in all of my other trees, following Gladiator, I actually went into Vanquisher. Vanquisher is definitely the best second class to go, unless Vanquisher is the class you have chosen, because Vanquisher, from the get-go, you get to immediately take 5 points into damage, you place 1 point into a skill, and then you've got 25 more points that you can put into damage. And so you can put a total of 30 Paragon points into damage for a total of 600 bonus damage to your character, which is absolutely huge. You definitely want to do that. From there, you're going to want to figure out which trees are going to be the next easiest to get to damage. I personally found it to be Treasure Hunter. So you'll notice I put 5 into the armor, 1 into Swift Learner, and then 15 into damage. From there, I personally went over to Soldier, I think, because Soldier was 1 point, 15 points, and then 15 points into damage right here. So ultimately, make sure that you scout through the different Paragon trees and then put your points in accordingly. Now, I want to take one quick moment to pause here at Mastermind because I believe that there is actually a bug in the system for when you're placing your points that will enable you to bypass some of the required points. I've seen this happen a few times when I have reset my points. You'll see up here, there's this reset button. If you select this button right here, if you click on it, you can actually reset all of your Paragon points every 7 days. And so you can then reallocate those Paragon points. In the event that you ever change classes to another class, you actually get a free Paragon refund the moment that you change classes, as long as it's to a new class. If let's say that you start as a wizard, I'm a wizard, you swap to monk. When you swap to monk, you get all of your Paragon points refunded, even if the reset is on cooldown. But then if you swap back to wizard, your points are actually going to be what they were on your wizard before you did the class change. So swapping to a new class, free reset. Swapping to a class you've been before just gives you exactly what you had before. It saves that, but I digress. Anyways, when you're putting in the points, you have the option of either putting in 1 point or putting in 5 points in the event that you have more available points. And so if you have, like I had here, I think actually what happened here was I only had like 6 points available when I did this. And so what happened was I put in the 5 and then I didn't have enough points to be able to maximize the armor penetration. And so it just immediately unlocked mutual defense for me. And so I was then able to put into mutual defense. And then once I had that, it unlocked this damage node for me and I was able to pick up more damage. But with that said, I wouldn't rely on that. What I would do is simply pick one class and then find the other classes that are going to get you to, or trees, if you will, I'm calling them classes, but trees, that are going to get you to the higher damage, and then put your points into those for damage. Once you've put all of your points that you can into damage, then start putting your points into life. As there's going to be a whole bunch of life points that you can pick up. So first damage, then life, and then finally the last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to then pick a second tree that you want skills for. I think it makes the most sense to either have a PvP and a PvE tree, or if you're a player who just doesn't like PvP at all, you're not going to do it, to have a PvE tree that you're going to use for like raids and dungeons, and then to have something like Treasure Hunter for when you're farming the outer world, because ultimately you want to try and use your Paragon points to maximize what you're getting out of the game. So those are my tips and tricks for the Paragon system in Diablo Immortal. In summation, pick a tree, get the skills you want from that tree, and then use the rest of your points in attributes for your character. Because if you do that, you're going to get the most total stat points allocated to your character, and it's going to make your character a heck of a lot stronger. It's why, for example, on my wizard, for my attributes, my damage number is so high, even though my gear should not actually give me damage that is that high. It's simply that I have so many points invested into damage from my Paragon trees that I am able to really slay out against monsters. So if you have any questions, if there's anything that I didn't answer in this video about the Paragon system, please go ahead and leave a comment. I'm happy to answer that. And if there are enough comments that make it seem as though I have forgotten something really vital and important, then I can of course update or add another video to the channel that will include further information about the Paragon system. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.